We've got some.
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah. Round 2. This is probably the most awaited and promoted episode we've had. We actually already had today's guest in our podcast. Her appearance was the 0.5 seconds she needed to grab people's attention and have them tune in today.
She was named Content is Profit soccer team captain. That's right, guys. You listen right. She is actually one of the co-founders of Tropic Thunder Thursdays. But more importantly, she is the renowned Spotify playlist creator. And today she's launching the Content is Profit playlist.
She is a #1 best-selling author.
And #1 fun author.
She helps people tell stories that convert through her design hacking philosophy. Russell Brunson and Tony Robbins have been lucky to share the stage with her. And most importantly, she is one of our new best friends. But this time, she knows it.
That is right. Please welcome design hacker, most loved marketer, and Content is Profit Hall of Famer, Miss Kathryn.
Oh my gosh. Listen, you guys, I have to say, I think my biggest regret maybe of my life is the fact that I had a whole week. I could have pulled this off. We need soccer jerseys. Like, we need matching outfits. Like, what have I been doing the last week? Like,
Wow.
I've made mistakes, and I want to apologize as team captain. I let you down.
It's okay.
That's fine. Do you have the Caprice on?
Give me 1 second. I'll go grab it. Anything's possible.
Let's be set up to part 3, so we can bring the soccer jerseys. That's all.
There we go.
And it's like we need the little, like captain wristband.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait.
I won't throw rocks at you though. That's one thing I can't promise. No rock throwing.
No rocks. For those listening,
I
guys,
really appreciate that. Thank you.
Don't cross me. You know what I'm saying?
For those listening, guys, Fonzie, before we actually went and recorded this, he was telling a story on how our dad, which we love very, very much, and we appreciate this, threw rocks at him because he was low on soccer. So there's somewhere in the past episodes, go watch it, listen to it, that's fine. But we won't get into that today because it can be very sensitive and we don't want Fonzie crying. That's over. Kathryn, wow. This is so exciting. Thank you again for joining us. And now we get to chat a little bit longer, which is exciting.
Listen, I'm always trying to play a little bit hard to get, and I'm glad to see that it worked. That was my play the whole time. I was like, how do I get on a second time? So
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I burned like twice the calories by thinking so hard on what to put in this intro this time.
Yeah.
It's like challenging. We need to make an impact. So thank you so much for coming.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Are you kidding me? It's gonna be amazing.
So if you haven't listened, guys, go check out the teaser episode, which Kathryn actually gives us an amazing tip to do what she does best. But before we get into that kind of thing, Kathryn, we want to know a little bit like where you come from, like why design hacking, why marketing, why online marketing, and what do you do today?
Yeah. Okay. Such a good question. And I feel like everybody is this way. It's like, how did you find the internet? Everybody's story is always crazy. I mean, maybe there's 2 versions. One's like, I just saw a Facebook ad and I started. And then the other one's like, way back in the history. You know what I mean? It's like, it's always great. Mine's more of these way back years. I was never planning on being an entrepreneur. I didn't even really know that online internet marketing was a thing. I actually was studying film in school. And I took a break from school to go serve a 1.5 year mission trip for my church in Los Angeles. So when I was in LA, I kind of got to see like the good and the bad parts of the film world. And I just kind of came back and was like just kind of disenchanted with it, which grateful because we learned we didn't want to do that, but also problem because I was 3.5 years done with school. I had like 2 semesters left. And I come back, I have no idea what I want to do, right? And also, the only thing I knew I wanted to do was like super annoying. Like the reason why the millennial stereotype exists is because of me. Like it's actually my fault. Back, I was like, I just want to help people. You know, it's like I'm an idiot. I have no idea what that means. And but the only thing I could think was like, well, whatever this like help people means, it would probably be easier if I had some money. Like if I had some cash, it'd probably be easier. So I was like, business? I like literally, that's where I'm at. I'm like, study business? Business is money. I have no idea, right? And so I go to university, I try to switch my major, and they were like, oh, sweetheart, you have like way too many credit hours. Like they're like, just get out of here, you know? And so I just tell you, oh my gosh, you guys, that was actually, I think, like the most divine blessing that ever happened in my life, because it was like, well, I guess you got to figure it out, right? So what's crazy is I didn't even, again, like entrepreneurship was nowhere on my horizon. I started reading personal finance books, which eventually led me to investment books, which led me to like self-help books. And also I'm kind of like this Tim Ferriss world 4-hour work week, you know, it's like everybody takes a stop on that train, you know? Yep. And all of a sudden people start selling me these online courses where it's like how to build a WordPress site and how to write email copy. And I didn't really know what it meant, but I just like kind of became like so intrigued with this world. So I can't exactly explain why, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, stuff's so cool. And so I'm paying for these online courses with credit cards that I should not have applied for, but I did it anyway because, you know,
Good.
Here we are. And
Good.
oh my gosh. And all of a sudden I land upon like this concept of like what really is internet marketing and what does it mean to have an online business and how can you create passive sources of income? And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, like everything just like clicked in my mind where I was like, one, if this is real, this is legit. I'm like, why is not everybody doing this? And the second thing was I actually grew up, I'm the second oldest of 8 kids. And so there's just like, how many do you guys have? How many are in your guys' family?
Well, today too, we have an older brother that he's actually in Colombia, which he's also starting his own show for the Hispanic market. We're so proud. And then we have a sister that she is in Peru. So we're all over the place.
We're
all over the place.
That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, so you guys know you have 4, so we have 8. And oh my gosh, I love it so much. And my parents like actually are the coolest human beings. And I always knew that I wanted a life. I wanted to be like my mom, but I knew I wanted my life to be look a little bit different than hers. Yeah. I like could not figure out in my head. I was like, what does it look like to take over the world, but also be like a really dope mother and a super present wife? Like, can you do both the things? And for so long, I just like literally could not figure it out until I discovered internet marketing. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I think if I'm just not an idiot, I think if I'm just not dumb, and I build this thing correctly, then I think that I could figure out a way to have significant impact inside of my home while simultaneously having significant impact outside of my home. Like, I think I could do it. And so that just turned it up to like next level obsession, right? Where I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And along that road, discovered funnels, which was like super cool, which is super systematic. And it was amazing. We had clients, we had a lot of clients, but we were kind of all over the place where one day we would like absolutely kill it for somebody. And like I always describe where it's like, you know, some days where you're like, you're killing it online and you're like, am I the internet? Like I am the internet, you know? And then like the very next client you tank and you're just like, I'm quitting. I'm never doing anything.
Okay, you game over. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're just like up and down and I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, what is the deal? Why can we not figure out how to be consistently profitable in what it is that we're launching? And so in this like, and again, I think this was like more of a pain point for me than maybe others because it was tied to this, like, if I don't figure out how this thing works formulaically, where I can predict it, then like, I don't have a shot in heck to have a life at home, right? Because I'm always going to be scrambling or not sure if it's going to work or no sense of predictability. And so as I'm researching, all of a sudden I come across these studies that say that, and I think we talked about this a little bit before, where it's like it takes people 0.05 seconds to determine whether your site is credible or not. And over 90% of what they're judging is your design.
I just realized, sorry for interrupting, I just realized that we messed it up in the intro. We put 0.5 instead of 0.05.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh,
yeah, that's insane.
So I discover this, and it's like this double-edged sword where, like, number one, I am so excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, I figured out the lever. Like we can have the best copy in the world, we have the best offer in the world, but like we just have to figure out how to actually present it. Like, how do we present this visually so that we can play into what's physiologically already happening in people's minds? So it's like, oh my gosh, design's the answer. But then it was this other part of the sword where I was like, well, this is terrible because I don't know anything about design. I was like, I'm screwed. I don't understand how to do this. And I kept getting really frustrated because all the answers for understanding design and presentation and whether that was funnels or video or podcast or even copyright, it was like, go learn how to code or go back to graphic design school or go learn the whole Adobe suite. And honestly, like for me, it cracks me up that my vehicle is called design hacking and that I'm like the top like design person in the funnel world. It actually cracks me up because I never wanted to be a designer. I didn't want to be a designer. I just wanted my stuff to freaking work. Like, that's it. Like, I just wanted to know the formulaic process for, hey, if I have an idea, how do I take it from idea, put it into reality, and get paid for it? And it was fascinating as we started to approach this to find that, like, design was the lever. And so, again, getting frustrated because everybody's telling me you have to go back to school, you have to learn coding. And because I didn't want to be an actual designer, I wanted to be a marketer. I really think through stubbornness. And like you could see, like I have like my books are all color coordinated. I'm like a little bit CD for sure. So when people are like, design is this like you feel it or it's this ambiguous, nebulous thing, I was like, I like actually can't understand what you're telling me right now. Like I don't understand. So also I just started to play with these hypotheses where it's like, could design actually just be a science? Yeah. Like, could it be where it's instead of this, like, again, it's like really ambiguous thing, it could just be like a series of steps to take, a series of decisions to make, and a series of tools to use. Like, could that be a thing? And it was almost obnoxious how fast we proved those hypotheses to be true. Where I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like, I've been failing for this long, and like, that's all I needed to figure out. I was like, oh, and we started to figure this out. We started to figure out, again, like down to like the granular level, what is the science for design when it comes to funnels? And what's been so fun is that those formulas exist for presenting stories or offers that convert, not just in funnels. It exists in copy and video and Facebook Lives and Instagram stories. And so we've just been honing and perfecting this craft to teach people, again, how do you present stories or offers to the world in a way that you can predict that they will actually convert. And then what's been also fun is not only how do you present stories to other people that convert, but how do you start to present them to yourself? So it's not this like fake game of affirmations, but you're actually like, oh no, we actually do this.
I think that's a major point right there.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to take the conversation there in a little bit. I love, I mean, I'm a sucker for that topic. I love it. But I mean, I love the whole story. Literally, it sounds like you've been doing this for like 50 years, you know? Not like you look 50. I'm not saying that. Please, people, don't hate me right here.
It's
but
been
like the whole story.
Honestly, it's been I always say, like, I first discovered the internet April of 2014. So like it's been a second, and like truly, like you go look at, I mean, I'm a little OCD, right? So it's like I have a spreadsheet of every single course that I've ever bought and taken. And it was amazing. Like when I was in school, again, I was studying film, knew I didn't want to do film, discovered the internet. And once I realized that was what I wanted to do, I made this conscious decision to not make school a priority, which was like hard for me. That's just like so not ingrained enough, right? So like if I usually would spend 10 hours on a paper, I just decided I would slash everything in half. So I would literally set a timer for 5 hours and just whatever was done was done. And then I would use that time to go actually do these online courses where I'm like, how do you write copy? What does it look like to build an online course? Like, how do you actually do this stuff?
I love that point that you make right there, because a lot of people, like even like in our content world, right? Like you have to let some things go and then go execute. And for you, that decision was something that for most people, they think it's impossible, right? You go to college and be like, hey, you know, don't invest all your time here. And again, nothing against college, but if it's not your passion, maybe chop that in half. They're like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going to be able to finish. And just being able to be at peace with that, because your goal on the other side is so much bigger, right? Or that itch, right? To find it, to find that thing is so much bigger. So I give full props to that, and amazing that you were able to do that and show the way for so many other people that they can actually do that.
I think one of the main reasons, like, well, and I'll tell you this, like, it was just always ingrained in us, like, growing up. Like, I'm grateful to my parents, but it's like, you do good in school. Like, that's your job. Like, you do good in school and you're super involved. Like, that was their thing. Like, you contribute. And so, like, I actually was literally valedictorian in high school. So I was valedictorian, like, school. Do, like, never have a missing assignment. Do the things, like, blah, blah. I get to my first semester of college. I get absolutely hosed, you guys. I get a 2.7, okay? Which, like, for a girl who's never had a B in her life was, like, it was, like, panic-inducing for me. I was like, oh, my gosh. I was like, I'm an idiot. I don't know who I am. But here, oh, my gosh, it was the best. It was like this blessing from God. Because all of a sudden, it was like, I was like, why did I just totally botch this?
Yeah.
Like, totally, absolutely botch this. And again, this beautiful realization that came when I was 18 years old, right? Where all of a sudden I realized that my whole life, I never actually learned how to learn. I just got really good at doing what people told me to do. And the second that I had to go into a D1 college, right, where I'm competing against literally 30,000 kids, and it's not enough to just turn in your assignments and show up on time, right? Like, I actually had to learn stuff. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. And it was just like terribly painful skill set for me to realize that I had no idea how to actually learn. So gratefully, fast forward, I start to learn those things in school. I go on a mission trip for a year and a half. You start to figure stuff out, right? I come back, and it actually was this huge blessing, because this decision of like, I'm not going to make school a priority was more so like, hey, I finally figured out how to learn stuff. And right now, me learning stuff, like, I have to put aside what these marks are going to say about me, because I know what I'm actually trying to learn. And so, again, totally botched it. But again, I think one of the best and most amazing lessons, and I think why a lot of people struggle in entrepreneurship, is because we keep wanting people to tell us what to do.
Yes.
If you can learn how to learn and like almost be grateful when you find out where your holes are, because you're like, yes, I know where the next place to go is.
Exactly.
Then it becomes fun. Then it becomes really, really fun and less overwhelming, I think, in my opinion.
This is awesome. I mean,
there's so much stuff in here. I'm like,
literally, like, you've said so many stuff that I want to like touch into, but at the same time, I don't want to like lose, you know, like this one topic that we have right now. So
we already have rent-free planned. We're gonna have soccer jerseys on. Like, we have time. We have time.
We got plenty of time. That's right. But you know, talking about this, learning how to learn, I love that topic. Especially, we actually had as the CEO of Planable last episode.
Xenia,
her name is Xenia. She's a 30 under 30, and she was talking about kind of like losing yourself on the road of entrepreneurship, right? And I was like, you know what, like there's this saying, model after success, right? Success leaves clues. And I understand that. I love that, actually. I think it makes total sense. But I think what you were saying, people want to be told what to do, right? Like how to do it. When they're following those steps, they just pretty much, that's all they want. They just want the how-tos, and they don't learn actually how to learn and see these opportunities within themselves of like, whoa, I'm slacking a little bit in this area. And if I put a little bit of effort here, this is going to help my business, right? So I think that is super, super important. And I love your story, what you were saying about school, because there's actually this book called Limitless Mind, and it's written by a math teacher.
Okay.
And she's saying that there's so many problems with education, especially here in the US right now. Yeah. And one of the problems is actually like segmentating students, honor classes, all the stuff, because they grow up with the belief that all they got to do is hit the A's, right? They don't really learn how to, the system is not really teaching them how to learn, just how to get A's, right? And when eventually they get a B or a C, they freak out, which is what you were explaining what happened to you. And when you were telling this story, I was like, oh man, like this is incredible.
Beautiful too. Like I love this game of entrepreneurship too, because I think it's coached me a lot. And again, I say this fully recognizing I'm about to get absolutely rocked when I have children, right? It's like all the parents I know I'm calling you all. Like, what a beautiful thing to think about too in how you teach your children. Where it's like, how can you teach your learnings and outcomes rather than marks? Where it's like, hey, cool, like what do we want to learn this summer? What do we want to do? And like, okay, cool. You wanna build a computer? I have no idea how to do that. But cool, let's figure it out. How are we going to figure it out?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know if you're familiar with Jesse Itzler, husband of Sarah Blakely.
He's amazing. Yes.
Exactly. So it's incredible. Like they sit around in every dinner and they're like, hey, what do you feel at today? What do you feel at today? What did you do to overcome that failure? So they actually celebrate the failures instead of the wins first, and then they celebrate the wins on how they actually win that. And I thought that was like amazing, right? Yep. And when we went back to our world, you know, at the time, and we shared this idea, everybody's like, oh my goodness, like what? Why would you do that? Like, and I think that's the difference. I think the people that seek those failures faster to learn faster and then start discovering themselves, then they will find their own path and then have their own success in their own terms.
Yeah, I mean, I think people do need to celebrate the wins. Of course, you know, dopamine, it makes you feel good and everything. But I think celebrating the wins, it comes from a comfortable place, right? Like we feel pretty nice celebrating our wins, but it's very harsh. Look at yourself and say, you know what, like I failed at this. And then it's even harsher to tell yourself why you fell at that, right? Like kind of like analyzing yourself.
I think that's one of those times like a true leader. Like I literally just got off, like just right before this, I had a call with my coach, right? So like I'm always learning. And literally I asked her a question and she answered, and it wasn't an answer I was expecting. I was like, wait, why did you like talk to me about that? And she got quiet for a second. She goes, I'm going to correct myself on that. She's like, I was wrong. And she goes, and let me tell you why I think I was wrong about that. And like in the moment coaching, right? Where it's like, listen, like a coach, a leader, whether it's Jesse Itzler, who's a father, or a business coach or whoever, like the sign of a true leader is somebody who in the moment is like almost like grasping to see where you fall short because it's a moment to learn. And again, like how cool is it that my coach, like I'm literally paying her money, no pride, no ego involved. She's like, oh, I totally botched that. I totally take back what I said. And let me tell you, what I just told you came from a place of fear.
Love it.
Wow.
And that for me was so much more important even than the answer that came first or second. Was this example where it was like, oh yeah, like, sorry, I totally said that out of fear right there. And I was like, wow. How many places am I doing that in my life?
Yeah, right. I know, it makes you think. So like you went from like, I want to continue this topic a little bit. But,
no, I love this topic.
But I want to transition a little bit to, I think we can merge both.
Ready.
Now you literally coach hundreds of entrepreneurs, if not thousands, to do this whole design hacking thing, right?
Totally.
Coming from a place that you did not know how to design, and now you do that with this amazing coaching. So how do you get there? Like how do you do it? Like how your students are having so much success, and why is this so important if you are playing on the online marketing content world?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Such a good question. And I say this again as somebody who is like perpetually learning. Like we're about to cross 1,000 people in our course right now, which is like super exciting. And then thousands of people across the oh my God, I love that you have that cue. That's the nicest thing. But I literally remember when my first goal was 8. I was like, listen, if I can get to 8, and then for whatever reason, the next number was 27. I can't even remember why it was like, but it's 8, 27, and 67, and then 128. I can't remember again why those numbers. It was like, I just like, that's my benchmark. That's my benchmark. And it's really fascinating to see how the game does change and evolve. But I think the reason why this philosophy of design hacking for funnels specifically is what we're talking about, why it's so profitable is a few reasons. Number one, we figured out how to expedite the results that you can get. Like really, we have graphic designers who literally send me hate mail, like very mean things, right? Wow. Because they're like, you're a fraud. I had to go to school for 4 years to learn this. This is crap. Like you can make at most $75 an hour. Like it's insane what you're saying you can make, like blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, I get it. I would be so mad too. If I spent 4 years and was in student loans to come out and best case scenario make $75 an hour. And then to see what people are doing in our course, where within a matter of 5 to 15 hours after joining the course, right? So again, as soon as the person that's made the money fastest has been a day and a half. Wow. When we have this thing in our course called Money by the Weekend, where it's like, hey, can you the week you make it, make money by the weekend. And we have people do it over and over and over and over again. We're having a graduation. It's called Student Design School, right? We have a graduation for people who either made up the cost of the course, made $10,000, $50,000 or more. And we have over 30 people graduating, right? Just within the last little chunk of time. And again, I think one reason why is because our stuff actually works, number one. And number two is we have literally built a system that makes it so hard and difficult to get overwhelmed. Like, it's almost like the reason you're not going to win is if you just don't do it. So what we do is we have all these different touch points. We gamify the entire thing. So we literally have 9 different badges that you win according to challenges that you do. So it's like, cool, you want to do this? Cool, let's just break it down. And every time you do it, you get a badge. And we literally just coded it into the back end. When you get a badge, fireworks go off. Because again, like you said, dopamine hit.
Yep.
And we just, as quickly as possible, we are trying to get them as many tiny wins so that they perpetually grow and grow and grow in their ability and capacity.
Yeah.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, these people who have been struggling to make money online for the last 2 years, or have been playing for a ClickFunnels account for the last 6 months, or whatever the case, all of a sudden within 3 hours, they have $2,500 in their bank account. And they're like, what the freak just happened? It's like, oh, well, we kind of tricked you, right? Like,
yep.
The first badge is sign a contract that just says you're going to do it. It's just a tiny thing, but boom, fireworks go off, right? Badge. And so again, and I think that's the reason why we've been able to be so successful when we do these things with our agency, or selling tickets to Design Hacking Live, or teaching this stuff across video, is we approach this design and presentation and storytelling element, which typically are these really fluffy, soft skills, as formulaic and concrete, and knowing the foundation, so that when you do know the formula, I mean, you can go off and branch off from there, but having this foundation that allows you to know, like, okay, what I'm going to do, what I'm putting together right now is going to work. And anyway, so I'd say like tiny wins, gamification, and taking really typically inferred as soft skills and making them concrete and really actionable.
This is, guys, listen to this on repeat, because I mean, there's so many things I think that might have, like fly under the radar here. I don't like the word genius, so I'm gonna use extremely smart hard worker. You are an extremely smart hard worker. This is incredible, right? Actually, so there's another book that we read called Barking at the Wrong Tree. Totally recommend it. I know you're into books, so that one is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And the guy talks about actually gamification, right? You were just talking right now, right? Those little dopamine hits. Mm-hmm. The example that he gives is someone trying to survive after he was left in a mountain with his legs broken, and he gamified his experience of crawling through the snow until he could get
to the next rock.
To the next rock, and then until he finally got to the village where they saved him, right?
Days later, by the way.
Days later. Yeah. But that translates the same to business. It's those little wins, those dopamine hits, they keep people going. And actually, yesterday, I was giving a workshop, and we were kind of sharing what Steve Larsen teaches, right? Credit where credit's due. He teaches about those, right? The dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin, how to induce those in your marketing, in your fulfillment.
Yes.
And I see that you literally included all those in your program. And I love it, because it's actually, people might be like, oh, but you're like putting all these elements, dopamine, whatever, in your marketing, but you're doing it from a place of, I want to serve them. And I know most people fail after they enroll in courses, they stop doing them. So I'm going to use this to help them actually win, help them go through my entire course and win. So for those listening, if you have a course, if you have any program, right, coaching, whatever, listen to this again, because I think these are tools that you can use within your program, within your business, to actually have your clients get more success.
Yes. And that's crazy. Like, literally, like, I don't even send you a t-shirt, right? Until you made 1,000. I don't even send you anything cooler until you made 10. And then, but we have these levels, right? But what is crazy, literally crazy, is that the thing that keeps people going is all of a sudden an icon that was previously dulled lights up, a CSS firework, a JavaScript firework shoots off, and a little air horn goes off. Like, that's it. And it's like, I gotta get badge 2. And all it is a boom, and
I gotta ask, is the air horn the one that goes like bam, 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 bam?
The Hispanic one? Yeah.
No, we were friends enough, fast enough. I'll call my coder. I'll be like, listen,
no, but I think it's wonderful why you're doing, Kathryn. I'm sorry because we know we're running out of time, and we're part 3 with the captain armbands and t-shirt.
Yeah, so much. It's gonna be amazing.
It's all good, but yes, I mean, the points that you just hit here and then on the previous episode, wonderful. I think people have to go back and really listen to this because it's literally like $10,000 worth of advice there.
We should merge the episodes.
It's a massive like shortcut that people can actually take to have success, not only on design hacking, but on their own business, on their own projects. And for those,
right, like design hacking, how do you present stories or offers that convert? It's like, how are you going to present this story, this course information in a way that converts? Break it up, right? Like all this concept. How do you present information in a way that will convert, literally changing people from one form to another?
Yeah, and I want to add something is the people that you want to work with too, because you know that information, that story, kind of filters the people that you don't really want.
I mean, you're talking to Kathryn Jones. She's like the most unapologetic person in the digital marketing world. Your content literally is so unique. That like I feel like people get attracted immediately to your personality, to who you are, and I mean, I think it is made for your dream client, right? And I think that's another lesson for whoever's watching. Yeah. Don't just go and do whatever the status quo of digital marketing tells you to do, but there's a way that you can find yourself as well and put yourself out there for others to see.
Totally. With that, Kathryn, we have 2 more questions before we let you go.
Okay.
We're like, no, you're a host. You're here. You obviously are a massive content producer. The way that you create content is amazing. We love your style, right? And it's because it's you. What would you be if you were not publishing?
What would I be doing if I wasn't publishing?
Yes. Where would you be?
Like if I had to pick a different job? Is that what you're saying?
Where do you think your life would be if you didn't publish?
I will be under a bridge.
Okay, listen. Oh, I understand. Oh, here's the thing. Quick story. It's 30 seconds. There I was. It was about a year, like 14 months ago. Okay. We're finally starting to get some traction with CF Design School. Like people are starting to understand, like, oh, like they've started to hear about me. But I am faced up against some pretty big competitors that had a lot of huge high connections when it came to especially funnel design. And so I'm sitting in this conference and I remember thinking, how am I going to take down this giant? How do you do it? What am I going to do? I'm thinking, because it's just like, it's lowly old me. And it's like, we have 10 people on our team now, but at that point, there was 2 of us, right? 2. And so I'm like, how are we going to do this? What am I going to do? Blah, blah. And all of a sudden I have 2 things that come to my mind. Number one, Number one is you break a machine with a movement. That was the first thing that came to my mind. You break a machine with a movement. Then the second thing is, well, then how do you start a movement? How do you get a movement? It's all around the story. So then I thought, okay, if I can just be so strategically loud that nobody else can even hear or see my competitors, aka publishing, I think we can win the game. So we literally started Operation #Smoke 'em out. Literally, we're like, we are going to make so much content that they get overwhelmed and they have to leave. We literally smoke them out. And that, honestly, that was the genesis of us really taking off. Like when all of a sudden Russell Brunson started to reach out to us, and when all of a sudden we started to get partnerships and we started to get asked on speak on really big stages. And it was all because we really strategically thought, we're gonna kill a machine with a movement, and we're gonna smoke them out. Really loud.
I mean, this made our episode. By the way, this story right here, it's amazing because we're big fans of. Go ahead as consistently as possible, as frequently as possible, as loud as possible, with your own message, with what you have to say. So thank you for sharing that story. That was amazing. I did not know that one.
Yeah, no, I
we
love
didn't do the homework.
Hashtag smoke them out.
Smoke them out.
Smoke them out. So yeah, we'd be in a dark place without publishing for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that reminds me, I don't remember who was it that said it. We had him in the podcast not long ago, and they were saying that publishing is kind of like that breakthrough moment for many of digital entrepreneurs, right? And he mentioned some pretty big ones that they claim that publishing is their breakthrough moment, right? So you were saying that story, and I was like, that's another one. I was like, I love it.
So if you're listening, guys, please go ahead and publish. And if you want everything and want to learn how to tell stories that convert,
yep,
please connect with Kathryn. Kathryn, how can we connect with you? How can they find out more about you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, easiest place, come to our central hub. We have a place called Design Hackers Official. It's our Facebook group. We talk all about how to present stories that convert through funnels, video, podcast, stage, Instagram stories, copy, etc. But if you just want to stalk us, see some of the videos that they're talking about, Instagram, YouTube, you can go ahead and binge our stuff if you want. My handle's just Miss Kathryn Jones, MS Kathryn Jones on both of those things.
That's awesome. Right, guys. Go and binge because it is great content. And I mean, I must say, I'm a fan. I'm subscribed.
It's all good. Yeah,
I think we're missing the action point.
I think the action point is gonna be the first episode.
That
was a massive one. Yeah. So we always ask for that action point, that one thing, and you gave us so much good information today and on the other episode, just the full 10 minutes. So I think we're gonna go with that one.
Okay, the big bro has spoken, so it's okay.
Kathryn, we want to say thank you, gracias.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being here. It was extremely exciting for us and the audience, and you getting a ton of comments here. It's like, Kathryn Jones, love it right here. So awesome. And Cassie Brown, what's up? So it's always amazing to see people kind of coming in and checking everything out. So thank you again. And don't leave. We have like 2 more minutes outside of the show. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Please go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Find us on social media at the BIZBROS.
That's right, guys. And if you found this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, please share it with everybody else and leave a 5-star review.